Good morning and welcome to the channel on the 5th day of June 2026, which is a Friday. I found it strange looking through my various sources that President Putin of Russia is now talking about a ceasefire and that he is willing to make some concessions if Ukraine will also make some concessions. I found this very strange because after 4 years of war where he wouldn't make any concessions whatsoever, his attitude seems to have changed. So why is he offering a ceasefire now? Well, the number one reason is that Russia's military momentum is fading. Foreign affairs report that Russian combat performance is declining, with attacks putting less pressure on the Ukrainian units than in previous years. Ukraine is increasingly confident it can fight Russia to a ceasefire because Russian forces are no longer on an inexorable path to capturing the Donbass. This shift undermines Moscow's earlier belief that time was on its side. I think one of the major problems here is that Russia has lost what is reported to be 1.5 million personnel. The second part is that Ukraine's battlefield position is improving. Zero Fox's June 26 assessment says Ukraine's recent military successes are expected to continue, giving Kyiv greater leverage in eventual negotiations. If Russia waits, its negotiation position may worsen even further. Russia's strategic plan has stalled. Analysis shows Putin expected a Trump administration to force a favourable peace on Ukraine and Europe, locking in Russian gains. Instead, Western unity hardened, NATO strengthened, and Ukraine's red lines held. This leaves Putin without the diplomatic breakthrough he was counting on. Number 4, Russia is under severe economic and military strain. Rossi notes Russia faces economic deterioration, depleted conventional forces, and a regime that cannot admit defeat without risking internal instability. A ceasefire could relieve pressure without requiring Putin to acknowledge failure. Trump's peace proposals create a diplomatic opening. Reuters, the news agency, reports Putin has signaled that Trump's proposals could end the war if Ukraine compromises. By compromise, it means giving up the Donbass region. He claims Russia will honour compromises already discussed with Trump, but we're not quite sure exactly what those are. Putin may see this moment as the best chance to secure a deal favourable to Russia before battlefield conditions worse. Russia wants to freeze the front lines while it still holds territory. They currently own huge parts of Luhansk, Donetsk and Zaporozhye. Putin has openly said Ukraine wants Russia to halt its advance, and that a ceasefire would lock in Russian gains. A ceasefire now would freeze the conflict on terms advantageous to Russia. So the bottom line is Putin is offering a ceasefire now because Russia's offensive is weakening, Ukraine's position is strengthening, Western unity has not collapsed, Russia's economy and military are under strain. A ceasefire now could preserve Russia's territorial gains. Trump's diplomacy gives Moscow a potential off-ramp. I am not convinced that Putin is telling the truth because he's lied so often in the past. President Zelensky of Ukraine has offered face-to-face talks with him and Putin, but I think this is highly unlikely. We'll just have to see what the days, weeks, months and even years bring. I really hope that this can be settled peacefully. My belief is if Ukraine gives up territorial gains to Russia, then the war will end. If they don't, I believe it will continue because Putin will not want to give in. And the only alternative of this is that if internally Putin gets taken out of his present position. Thank you very much for listening. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.